Hello, it's Jay here again and welcome to another tutorial. So we're continuing on with the blood splatter script and we're going to actually fill out the onGUI function. So with that said, let's come inside the function and we're going to say GUI dot color and it's going to be equal to new color. We'll open and close brackets and we'll close the line off. Now we'll come inside the brackets and we're going to say 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma, and don't worry, we're coming back to this, but let's explain this now. So we're saying that the GUI color equals a new color. Now all these variables here and a fourth one we're going to put in a moment can exist between a value of 0 and 1. So what do these three represent? Well, these three represent the RGB, and as always I advise you to read up on the Unity website. But these represent the RGB values of the new colour. Now we're not altering those, so they can stay at a value of 1. However, this fourth variable we're going to put in is for the alpha. Now that affects the transparency, which is why, if you remember to the earlier video, I said this value must be 1. And that's because here it can only exist as a value between 0 and 1. So what we need to do is come in here and rather than giving a numeric value, we'll say underscore and we want the fade value. So whatever the fade value is between 0 and 1, that's what we're going to affect with the transparency. So I hope you understand that, but if not, or you have any questions, as always, leave them below and I will always try and answer for you. So we'll say GUI color is, and let's say is equal to, let's just say default RGB plus the fade value. And we'll come below here and we'll say GUI dot draw texture. Open brackets, new rect, open brackets again. So, and in fact I'm going to break this line down. So we'll actually start commenting here and we'll say draw texture and we'll come below. So this is all part of one line and we'll say 0 comma 0 comma and we want screen dot width comma and then we want the screen dot height. We'll close brackets and comma. Let's just put this into the comments now. We'll say across the full screen. And I've gone over this before, so we're starting to draw the texture at coordinates 0, 0. So right in the corner of the screen. We're drawing it the complete screen width by the complete screen height. And we'll come below and then we'll say underscore and then what we want to draw, the blood splatter. And then we're going to open and close the square type of brackets. And we'll say underscore and we want the hit count. So let's hit count. So now we can close brackets and close the line off. let's put this into the comments. And we'll say, and draw texture in the array that corresponds with the number of hits. So we're drawing the texture across the full screen. We're drawing the blood splatter and the hit count. So depending on how many hits we have, depends on which texture in this array here that we're going to draw. And hopefully this will make sense to you very shortly. But for now, let's just save that off. And we'll downsize my develop. And we'll come to our FPS controller. And let's now attach our script. So there's our blood splatter script. And just bear with me, I'm just going to collapse some of these down for now. So this is our array, and I'm going to come here. As you can see, I've created 4 blood splatter GUIs here. So let's click on the first one. Now this is going to be a completely clear texture. As you can see, it's showing up black at the moment, and that's because we need to change it from texture type default to editor GUI and legacy GUI. And let's hit apply. And this checkerboard effect tells us that the texture is now transparent. And we need to do this for all the others. Now, I quickly made these textures in Paint.net. You can use obviously any program you like to create these textures. There's plenty available on the asset store or online, but I've just made these up. So these are maybe the best blood splatter textures because I didn't have a lot of time to work on them, but I think they'll be good for testing. And as you can see, you can actually see the 4 here. If I come back to the script, remember, as I told you, these are the RGB and this is the alpha. And you can actually see that here. Hopefully you can see in the video, RGB and then A for alpha here. So let's click on our FPS controller and we'll assign our textures. So I've put a size of 5. Let's just put these in order. So you want to start with your transparent one first, and then the lightest of the textures, and then finishing with the strongest. So let's just keep going with this. And obviously in your project you can create more if you like. Just remember, the more you create, you will have to change this here. And it's always 1 less, this value, that's why we kept it as public, 1 less than the amount of textures you have, because we do not class the first one. So they are all now assigned. So all we need to do now is to activate this block of code, and we can do that via the enemy attack script. So let's open up this script, and I'll just get rid of that, and we want to come here. So hopefully you can remember, in the void damage player we had 2 temp variables where we apply damage to the player and the adrenaline boost. And we can actually copy one of these blocks. So let's just copy temp 2, and we're going to activate the block in the blood splatter script exactly the same. So we'll just change it to blood splatter because that's the script we want, and we'll change this to temp 3. And let's change the comment here. we still want to find the player game object, and let's just copy in, get component, and this time we want the blood splatter script. And let's change the comment. And then we come here, we'll change this to temp3, and then we want the name of the function, enemy hits. So let's type that in there. And for this value here, so let's come up and I'll put it here actually. Let's create another variable. We'll create it as public for now, but we'll probably change this to private later. But let's say underscore, and let's say add hit count. We'll make this equal to 1. Let's get into the comments. So yeah, we'll say defines number of hits increase value. Yeah, that will do. Again, you can word it differently to what I have there. And then let's use that here. So add hit count. So we need to change the comment. Let's just copy enemy hits and we'll paste that in there. So we then access enemy hits function and pass in the let's change that to hit count value. And with that said, we can save that off there. And now we can go and test it out. So we'll just wait a moment. It seems to have recompiled. Let's hit play. So we can see no textures at the moment. Let's go towards the enemy. Let's get away from the enemy. And you can see it fading, fading. It should have reset, so we should get the first texture again, which we do. And if we can get away, and obviously I've made my textures far too big and I can't see what I'm doing, so I will have to change these textures and make a new set, I think, but you get the idea. And most importantly, you can actually see it working. And let's click on the FPS controller. So as you can see, because we've faded out, our hit count's gone back down. And let's stop that there. So as I said, I'll have to redo these textures. They're far too strong when I'm getting hit. I can't see where I'm going, so I'll remake these at a later date. But as you can see, it's working, and it's working very well. I just suggest not going quite as strong with the texture effect as I have. So yes, I think we'll leave it here. So the blood splatter script is now complete. Let's just close all them down. And in the next lesson, we'll continue on creating another new script. So I hope to see you then. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you next time. And until then, as always, bye for now.